How's it, guys? Alright, so this is going to be a continuation from the last video. If you remember, we did the client dashboard. Even though it has nothing for the time being, we also created the request form for the client. So now what we're going to do in this video is do some validations and then storing this information within the database itself. Now, there's a modification we also need to do within the controllers. So because when we store the request, it needs to get the client ID. So how I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna get the ID through the authenticated user, so that the only person that can create the request on the client side is the person who's logged in. So what we then need to do here within the controllers themselves is add middleware. So with middleware, like I said, we can intercept requests and check for certain conditions before the user can get to wherever route they are going to. So I'll explain the rest as I go on. Let me just quickly do this. Get request um, page. Uh, all right. Now, all right. So with middleware, there's various ways you can handle this. You can either add middleware to a specific route itself, or you can add middleware to all the routes. For example, we can have to access any routes within that are relating to the client side. We can add the middleware right here within the routes file, or here within the controller itself. I'm just gonna go with the way of adding it within the controller. So I'm gonna say public function, and then it's going to be done within a constructor. So construct, okay. Then all I have to do is I have to say this middle boy. All right. So by default, Laravel has an authentication middleware that come by default that we can use. So basically, all I have to do now is just type that there. So then now this means that anything that we try to access within this particular admin admin controller, we would then first have to log in first before what you call it, before we can get anywhere within the client dashboard or client controller. So if you check now, if I were to refresh this, it's gonna redirect me by default. Um, sorry, by default it's supposed to redirect me back to the login form. So if I were to check within here, authenticate, log in. So because we got that route log in over there, it should redirect us back there. Okay, so now what I need to do is I do it correctly there. Hold on. Yeah. In any case, yeah. So now let me see something. All right, so it looks like my middleware is not picking up middleware. Let me just verify this. Authenticate class, which is this over here. Okay, let me just do something here. Okay, it's not supposed to allow me here. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Let me just check something. Constructs. One moment for me, guys. How's it, guys? I'm back. All right. I'm not quite sure what the issue is, but I think that when we were testing our login form, um, in the previous video, um, because we used Stephen Cole minus to login, I think that session is still alive. That is why at the moment it's still allowing us to access these routes. So what I'm going to attempt to do now is configure the logout button so that it clears the current session that's running, and then test again to see if that middleware is going to work out or not. So here within the master template, uh, I need to get that logout button, which is this one over here. So here within the web root, um, I'm just going to make it a get request, and I'm just going to say log out, and then again log out. So this again is going to go to the authentication controller, and then add log out. Okay, so now within our authentication controller, we need to create a method there. So I'll just create it here at the bottom. All right, so to do that, we just need to call that auth facade. I'm just going to name this logout. So we call this auth facade over here, and all we have to do is just say log out. And there's it over there. Okay, so like I said, I think that because when we were testing, it created a session when we were testing the login form, and that's why currently it's allowing us to access this. And because usually the sessions they last for about 60 minutes to 2 hours, I think, it didn't time out. So we're gonna attempt to log out this user based on this, and then hopefully we will check again and see if we can access the routes that are protected by the middleware. Okay, so I think we should also return redirect. Um, okay, and then all you have to just say is logged out, and then obviously the route is gonna be to the login form. Okay, I think that's it for the logout form, and then we just need to access that message on the login page. I'm just gonna take and copy this one. I'm gonna take this and then just paste it on both of those. And I'm gonna change this to info text and then also info. Okay, so now we can access that name over there, the logout name on our master template. So let me just close this. Um, so everyone is just going to use the exact same route to log out. So just going to say route and then log out. Okay, so hopefully I'm right with my um, okay, so let's try to log out. Okay, so it has logged us out. So meaning that oh, by the way, if I didn't explain in the logger in that authentication video, this auth facade will automatically create a session for this particular user. And then what it's going to do is this auth facade will take everything within the um, select all. Oh no, let me actually do the. Okay, so everything, the auth facade, when after it successfully validates the user, it'll set up the session automatically, and then what it does is that it also loads everything about the user with everything about the user within the users table. We are able to then have access to that information through this auth facade. And so um with this auth facade, what it does is that here when we created the log out function here, it is going to basically delete and destroy that session, including all that information about that user that was logged in, and then meaning that we will then now have to log in again in order to access those pages. So if I'm correct, it should have done that now. And so if I try and access the client dashboard, um, it should not allow me. Okay, so I was correct, you see. So if I go also to the admin dashboard, it should also bring me back to the login form. Okay, so yeah guys, I guess that that was the issue. I forgot that when we were testing this user, the login form, it when we successfully logged in, it created the session. And so because the sessions last about, I think it's about 120 minutes if I'm not mistaken, config sessions, yeah, you see session lifetime is about 120. So it didn't, because we didn't, it doesn't delete the session even if you close the browser and open it again, if I'm not mistaken. So that is why it was allowing us to access those pages. So yeah, apologies for that, I forgot about that section there. Okay, so all right, so now that because we can log in, Stephen call minus oh actually, yeah, let me just sign in and then, okay, sorry, I forgot about the caps log. Okay, so it redirected us back to the dashboard. So now we can change that name there. Instead of John Doe, it's going to be the name of the user. So what we need to do in the master template, uh, welcome, let me see. Okay, so here we can change this now. We can access the user who's logged in. So what we need to do is auth. And so remember, like I said, the auth facade gives us access to all the information about the user. So when I say user in this, I can then get the first name, right? And then I'm gonna concatenate the with a space there. And then I'll say auth. And I'm gonna copy this. and then paste that there. Then I'll say last name, first name. Okay. So now it should show us Steven's name. Uh, refresh. Okay, so as you can see, Stephen Edwards is now shown. All right, so now we can log out, and then now it's showing the. So basically, it's only going to show the authenticated user's name. And so since because we've implemented middleware, even if you try and come to this dashboard, it won't allow you as long as you didn't log in. So, all right, now let's continue with what we were supposed to do, which was the authentication of that create request form, which is this one over here. All right, so now what we need is here within the web, we're gonna say, gonna create a post request. So this needs to change the post, and then we can just remove that. Instead of saying get, we can just say create request. We can move that get over there as well. Then all we need is this name over here, and then within the create request form, um, this is where it's going to post the information to. So we're gonna say route post. And remember, we are attaching a file here, so we need to also make the Mime type to multiform data. So don't forget this one over here. So now we need to get validate against the request type and the category. So in the client controller, we need to create another method. You're gonna say create request. Right, so public function, and we said create request. All right, and then now, okay, that's all we need. And then here, we're gonna validate. Right, and then we're gonna put in an array there. So basically, I'm gonna do the exact same thing that we've done already with validating. So I'm gonna pause the video so that you guys don't have to watch me retype all of this information. One moment for me, please. All right, guys, I'm back. Okay, so this is what I've typed so far: the request type, the category, subject, and description. Now I needed to explain the file one. So remember, because the file is going to be optional, um, it doesn't need to be required. But what can happen is that if they do attach a file, we need to set some validations so that it can accept certain file types. So what I'll do first here is I'll say required, and then we're gonna say mimes. We're gonna say mimes. So it can be either a PDF document. Oh, sorry, it needs to be a colon. So it can be either a PDF document, and then I think I have to say pipes. No, no. Should it be that? I think it's that. And then we also have PNG files, and then we also have JPEG. If I'm not mistaken, that's the MIME types. So now, for now, we'll take PDFs, PNG. We can also add Word documents and all of that, but I don't remember the extension for Word documents. But in any case, these will be the MIME types. So if they do decide to attach a file, um, oh yeah, sorry, it's not required. It can be nullable. But if they do decide to attach a file, then it has to meet these rules, the PDF, PNG, JPEG. But I just want to check something. I just want to be sure that I'm putting these within the correct order. Otherwise, I don't know if it's supposed to be pipes or commas. Just give me a sec there. All right, I am correct with this. The only thing I need to change is the JPEG format over there. Okay, so that's fine. All right, so now because we have this, we have the controller, it's a post request, name, create request. We did attach that on the form over there. Now the other thing is to display the errors. So now if you remember how I did it the last time, um, over here to give it a red border, I have to say errors has, and then all I need to do is put in that name there, so which is request underscore type, and then oh, if it has that error, I have to say um, I'll say is I'm gonna give it a is what you call it, a bootstrap class, which is invalid. So if it has this error, give it that echo out this bootstrap class. Otherwise, um, echo nothing. And then what I need to do is to display the error message. I'm gonna give it a small dot text danger, and so here what I have to do is errors first, and then again I have to get that name request type. So um, that's it, I think, in terms of the validations for the options list. So now if it has this error, it should give us the red border and a small message there at the bottom. So let me just refresh this quickly. Did I put the CRF token? Yes, I did. Okay. So if I do that, okay, validate required doesn't exist. Okay. Oh, apologies for that. It's spelling error there. I also need to say, okay, my apologies for that, guys. Uh, okay, so there, it give us the error message, but it didn't change the border. So let me just check that again. Uh, no. Again, it didn't change the border. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, if errors has request type. Okay, it's my mistake. Okay, one last time. What the hell? Okay, unexpected. Okay, okay, so now it's working. Okay, so it's giving us the error message and the border is changed to a reddish color. So now I'm gonna pause the video again and then do the exact same thing with all the rest of the fields over there. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, guys, I'm back. So just remember, we are setting that bootstrap class over there by checking if that category, there is an error for that category, and then we're going to display the message here with a small tag right underneath the options list. Same thing with the subject. I did the exact same thing, and the small tag. The only difference for the input field that we need to do is add a value so that it keeps whatever old data that was there, old, and then subject. Okay, so please enter a subject, and then let's not forget here we need to also add those values, otherwise it is going to continue giving us those errors. Software, um, software, I'll just say end. Okay, and then general. Same thing here, support, query, general. Okay, request type, that's fine. Same thing with the description, you just have to put it in between the text area tags and then the file as well, and then that's it. So if you check over here, when you click there, it should give us all the errors. As you can see there, it's displaying. Okay, so now we've done that. We are also validating the form fields over there. So I think we can proceed to create the request itself. Okay. All right. So to create the request, we need to import it over here. So we need the user. We're gonna need use app models and then create a request. What else do we need? Yeah, that's basically it. So we also need the auth facade. Sorry about that. So use uh, illuminate support then auth. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna copy here within the controller. I'm gonna copy that functionality we did of checking for the file, right? So we're gonna come here and then we are obviously gonna check if there is a file path. If there's a file, uh, the name of the file is that. Okay, and then we doing basically the exact same process. Now here we can make it dynamic if we want to. So let's say, for example, if the category is hardware, or no, wait, no, support. So we can get the request type. So what I'll do is I'll say, right, so request type will equal to, and then say input field, and the input field we're getting is the request type over there, right? So I don't want them to be cluttered too much within the folder structure there. So what I want is that if the client says the request type is support, um, then what it's going to do is it's going to take that name and then create a folder where we're going to create a file path. For example, we're going to say requests, right? But then there would be another folder here which we are going to make dynamic now based on the file path. So so since we have that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create that switch statement again. So we're gonna say switch, right? And here we're gonna take in this name, request type, right? And then we're gonna say case if it's support, um, if it's support, we're gonna say what you call it, uh, request dir. Let's just name it that request dir will equal to um, will equal to that request type name. No. What am I doing? Sorry about that. It's uh, it'll equal to support. Okay, and then obviously the other one is going to be query, and then the other one is going to be general. And then here we'll just say general, and then query, and that's it. And then here what we'll do is instead of current, we're just gonna what you call it, uh, yeah, sorry about that. And then all right, so if it's a request type, if it's support, it'll create that name, and then they'll name that directory based on that. So yeah, that's all the changes we need. Otherwise, if there's no file, we'll just say um, file file to store will be equal to no file, no file dot pdf or something, and then um, sorry, file path to store, we'll just say no directory specify, right? Okay, so remember we have two columns here where we need to store the file and the file path. So if there's no file available, it will store these two. Otherwise, if there is a file available, it'll create that file over there. Okay, so I hope this won't give me an issue, but in any case, yeah, we've done that. All right, so now what we need to do is get the create uh, create request. So I'll say create request, create the create method there, right? So remember we have the client ID there, which is a foreign key. So how we are going to get that is by using that auth facade that I told you about. So we say auth, and so and then I say ID. So it's gonna get, sorry, it's gonna get the ID of the current logged in user. So this user over here, it's gonna give us the ID of this particular user. And that's what I meant when I said this auth facade gives us what you call it, access to everything within the user's table of the user that's logged in. So because that's available within the session, we can get that user ID based on that. And then the next thing is, I think, the request type. Um, right, request type. Oh, sorry. Um, okay. So we need the case number. So case number will equal to. So I'm going to use a random function here to generate a number, but the first thing I need to do is get the substring of whatever is being created over there, and then concatenating it to a random number. Right, so the first thing I want to do is generate a random code. So up here, say code. Now, in terms of, okay, well, let me actually create it, then I'll tell you what's going on. And then I'll just say rand, and then I need it to range between 100 and 99. All right, and then code name, that will be. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the substring of, sorry, it needs to be sub and then str, and then I'm gonna need it to start from, I'm gonna say request type, right? So the name of that request type, whether it's support query or whatever, and then I'm gonna start it from 0 and then 3, right? Right, so the substring of that, so it's going to be something like SUP or QUE or gen, something like that. Then what I'm going to do now is to str to hopper, right? And then I'm going to take that code name and then concatenate a dash in between and then the code. So the case number is going to equal to that. It's going to generate the number, and then based on whether it's a query or code, it will just create that it will be our case number in terms of the request itself. So there is better ways to do this, but to keep it simple, let's just do it this way for now. Right. Okay, so it's going to be case number, and then we're going to say that. All right, then the request type, uh, you can get it, since we already set it up, we can just say that. And then we need the request type category and then subject, right? That's it. So we didn't set that one up, so we'll just directly get it from the request. So it's request input and then category. Subject, it will be, and then description, want to be sure I'm getting the correct field there. And then we have the file, and then it's file name, file to store, and then the file path. Did I name it file path? Oh yes. File path to store. So remember these two apologies for that. Okay, so remember these two variables over here. It's either going to be this if there is no file, or it's going to be based on whatever. If there is a file, it will be based on whatever we process over here. So I think that's it in terms of what we need. Yeah, the other two are automatically open by default. So now the one last thing is here within the model. I'm just going to copy this here. So I'm going to come within the create request model over there and paste that. And then I'm going to copy this here. The only thing I'm going to do is just delete all of the values there. So I have to do this, otherwise it's going to complain and give you an error talking about it needs to be fillable for math assignment or something like that. Okay, so that's it. So all right, so here I'm just gonna create some comments, and then I'm gonna leave a to do. Okay, and then from here on we can return. Okay, all right, so that should be fine. So after all of this is done, it should send us back to the request page, and then display that message over there. So to do that, we need this. Let me just take let me just take this. Um, only thing is that that's going to change to success, and then change that to success, and then that's it. All right, so that it doesn't look out of place, I'm also going to make it span about 6 columns, and then give it a margin bottom of 3. Okay, I'm gonna rerun the server again because my editor over here crashed earlier. So if I'm not mistaken, it's going to redirect us back to the login page. Oh, it's actually still live. Okay, so I'll just say support hardware. Um, let's just say that unable. Okay, not gonna attach a file. Let's just leave it as it is, and then let's create the request. Okay, so request created successfully. So let's see. Let me do this so that we can see what's going on there. Okay, so as you can see, we created our request. There's the client ID, there's the case number over there, and then support, the request type, etc. And then because we didn't attach a file, it said no file.pdf, and then by default it's open. So now if let's check within the okay, well, it wouldn't have created a file because of what you call it, because there was no file attached, so it wouldn't have created a directory within here. Yeah, so the last file we had was the creating of the client. In any case, I think I should, the video is already long enough, so I think we should end it here. But yeah, as you've seen, we are able to create the requests, and so the only thing that's left is to display the requests on the client side dashboard and also on the admin side. Okay, so that should be it, guys, for the video. The email part, like I said, that will come later on. This is not too much of a train smash. Sending emails in Laravel is quite easy. So, but yeah, I think I should end the video here. Again, guys, if you've liked what you've seen so far, please like, share, and subscribe. And then I'll be seeing you guys within the next video. Cheers for now.